হ্যালো দর্শক, সবাইকে শুভেচ্ছা। আপনারা জানেন যে আমরা নির্বাচনকে কেন্দ্র করে প্রতিদিনই অনুষ্ঠান করছি ডিসিশন 2016 ব্যানারে। তো আজকে আমাদের অনুষ্ঠান শুরু হলো। আজকে এই অনুষ্ঠানে আমাদের সাথে অতিথি আছেন বিশিষ্ট অ্যাটর্নি ব্রুস ফিশার। ব্রুস ফিশার একজন ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট অ্যান্ড হি ইজ নট অ্যালাইন উইথ এনি পলিটিক্যাল পার্টি লাইক ডেমোক্রেট অর রিপাবলিকান। সো যার কারণে আমরা তার কাছ থেকে মধ্য জায়গা থেকে তার অ্যানালাইসিস কি ইলেকশন নিয়ে এই বিষয়ে জানতে চাইব। ব্রুস, ওয়েলকাম টু দ্য শো।
Thank you again for having me.
Yes, thanks. Okay, so let's talk about today we want to know from you because you are American and you are watching as an independent person. You are not supporting Hillary or you are not leaning with Trump. You are independent. Why people are supporting Trump? Why people are supporting Hillary Clinton, and why they are disliking Trump and why they are disliking Clinton?
Well, if you look at it from today's perspective,
Yes.
As we sit here today, there's news dropping every day that has affected this race.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the primary process, and if you look at the post-primary process where Donald Trump was, I don't want to say surging, but Donald Trump was gaining a lot of momentum, and then the negative information came out regarding Trump, mm-hmm. that obviously, was a big negative factor affecting his popularity, mm-hmm. and decreased his likability. As now, from the WikiLeaks to the news regarding the FBI investigations, that is obviously affecting the likability of both candidates.
Mm-hmm.
So why are people not supporting Trump today? For the same reasons they weren't supporting Trump, back when people started talking about his,
mm-hmm.
The way he's talking about women, the audio tape of him discussing, grabbing women by their private parts.
Yeah,
that obviously did not ever help Trump from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And the same goes for the Clinton campaign, where, the WikiLeaks email scandal. Essentially, you have situations where the CNN questions or the CNN debate.
Mm-hmm.
The questions were given to Hillary Clinton by Donna Brazile, and that's been essentially proven by, not proven, but that's, or the allegations thereof,
Yeah.
have been corroborated essentially by CNN saying they weren't comfortable with the relationship, or they weren't comfortable with that situation. So why, I think Americans across the board are at this point, kind of fed up with the whole process, but at the same time, I don't really think that the electorate has changed that much from the beginning.
Okay,
I think
so you are American, and if I ask you, because the last about 3-4 days, we are watching that the Trump momentum is going up. He's getting very close with Hillary. He used to be far behind of Hillary in the national poll, but now he is getting tight and tight. What is the reason, being an American, why the American people are thinking the Trump could be a good president?
Well, I don't think it's that the American people think Trump could be any better of a president than they
Mm-hmm.
did when he first announced his run for the presidency.
Mm-hmm.
I think as an American and as an observer of the whole process as we sit here today,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why he is gaining momentum is because of the fact that the Federal Bureau of Investigations have announced, or it's been leaked, that they are investigating, or there's
The email.
not even the email. There's news being reported that the FBI is making a top priority the investigation of the Clinton Foundation.
Today the news breakout.
Yeah, that's coming out today, and if you look at the WikiLeaks, excuse me,
Yeah.
the WikiLeaks email that has been hacked and then provided to the public, I think that has made a lot of people very
Confused?
not necessarily confused. That has made a lot of people disgusted with the process.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at I think if this was any other year, if you had a candidate, let's say other than Trump,
Mm-hmm.
the race may have shifted more in the direction of the
Yeah,
Republican
the
candidate.
Republican, yeah, right.
However, I have to say that I think the reason why Trump is where he is today is because he actually is running against the establishment. I think Donald Trump is running against the Republican and has been running against the Republican, let's say the Republican bureaucracy and the Democratic bureaucracy. That's why I don't think his support has changed so much as Hillary's has taken a hit.
Yeah, you remember when Obama came in the power, and during his campaign, there was a big sign which is change, right? And he always talked about against the political bureaucracy and establishment.
Right.
That okay, I'll break the wall, and the politics will be for the people, by the people, for the people. But because the politics is controlling by the establishment and this special interest group, right? That's what his message was. That okay, I'm the person. I'll represent the people, and the politics will be for the people. I'll break the wall and bring the of the establishment and the interest group. Obama is going, but do you think he is successful that he break the wall and
Obama?
Obama?
Well, I mean, from a political perspective, that's going to be seen on November 8th. I mean, I think if you look at when you look at the electoral map, I think there are certain as we talk about, there are certain roads which Donald Trump needs to go down in order to win the election. At this point, both Hillary and Donald Trump need to win certain states. I think what's interesting from the perspective of the Democrats today, I think to some degree the change that Obama has implemented, Obamacare being one of them. If you take a state, I think it's Arizona. I think the premiums in Arizona, it's either Arizona or Arkansas went up by 100% for Obamacare. So if you take a state like that where that is a change that Obama has implemented, and if that's a state that's in play, you are going to actually have to deal with the people in that state who are now facing a 100% increase in their health insurance premiums. That is going to create a situation where the Democrats in that state are actually going to be upset by that change.
Yeah.
So yeah, has Obama implemented change? Of course, I think every president does to some degree. It's the question of whether that change on a daily basis is viewed as affecting your life in a positive or negative way.
But then after Obama, Hillary Clinton is coming. I mean, she is the candidate, and the Donald Trump. Donald Trump is talking about against the establishment and the political bureaucracy, against the Republican political bureaucracy and Democratic political bureaucracy. And now the momentum is kind of, I mean, his popularity was, far behind of of Hillary. But nowadays we are watching that is getting up. So, do you think the Hillary is bring a new any message new which is against the establishment, against the political bureaucracy?
Is Hillary's message? I don't really understand the question. Is
no,
Hillary's message?
Hillary's message. Do you think is a continuation of the Obama's message, which is will break the wall of the bureaucracy and?
Well, I mean, I think Obama's message and Hillary's message was never, and is never, that they will break the wall of the bureaucracy. I think to some degree you have to recognize the fact that both administrations, or the Obama administration and let's say a potential Hillary Clinton administration, I don't think there's any call for less bureaucracy. I think both of them want to institute more federal oversight, want to have more, more federal programs. You want to have Obamacare increased or fixed. Let's say, Trump's perspective is that he'd like to just basically eliminate Obamacare. I don't think his plan is specific as to what he's going to put in next, but Trump wants to eliminate Obamacare, whereas Hillary wants to, expand on it or fix it, and then, make it new or better. I don't know exactly how she plans to do that, but that is, I don't think either of them. I don't think Obama or Clinton want any less bureaucracy. I think that's,
so as an American, if someone asks you, okay, how, what is the good of Hillary and what is good for of Donald, in terms of their program, how we can evaluate?
Well, I think that if you look at it from an observer's perspective, I am an attorney, I'm a lawyer, so I have to recognize, you know, the law and how the laws of the country affect the populace, essentially. And what you have to recognize is that I think, you know, the Trump position is a position or a platform of trying to reestablish some basic laws within the country. I mean, I think the immigration argument or the immigration debate is one that, you know, is being sort of, I don't want to say played or blown out of proportion, in the sense I think Donald Trump's perspective of actually having an enforceable border is something that, even from an immigrant perspective, is not a crazy idea. I mean, I'm a son of an immigrant. Both my parents came from Europe after World War II. I'm assuming you are an immigrant or a son of immigrants. Yeah. I think that when you have been raised by immigrants who have come here, you know, through the actual process, had to wait to get here, it creates a sense of understanding of what Donald Trump is talking about. And yes, that you should go through a normal process to become a citizen of this country. You shouldn't be able to walk back and forth across the border as if it's a revolving door. And I think people do understand Trump's perspective.
How about Hillary Clinton?
Well, I think that is where it's, I think that's more of a, I think it's a harder sell. I think it's more difficult from the perspective of everyday life for people who are here and had to wait through the process to get here. You know, I think for the Bengali community, I think the Trump perspective is obviously,
they don't like.
They obviously don't like it, because he was, in my opinion, just not smart about, you know, how you're going to, you know, how are you going to say you can just eliminate the immigration of one whole religion. Right. You know, it's understandable to say, okay, countries that sponsor terrorism, you know, we're gonna look at them much clearer. We're gonna look at them much more. We're gonna do, as he says now, you know, a much stricter and more vigorous vetting process. But if you look at, I've been working with the Bengali, and I know the Bengali community for 15 years now. You know, if you look at the way the Bengali people, you know, raise their families, treat their women, you know, honor women. It's not. I've never, in my interactions with the Bengali community, ever had any sense of, you know, radicalism or thinking that Bengali people pose any threat to the American way of life. If anything, the Bengali people have always come across to me as people who are, you know, embracing the American process, embracing the American system. And I think that's the, you know, I think that's the big mistake Trump made with his immigration position.
Thank you. So we'll come back again after a short break. দর্শক, আমরা একটা ছোট্ট বিরতিতে যাচ্ছি, বিরতির পরে ফিরবো, আমাদের সাথেই থাকুন।
Buying a home or refinancing your mortgage? Now is the perfect time to do it with interest rates at record low. Since 1996, Omni Mortgage and their team of professionals have been helping many like you and others in their mortgage needs. Call their mortgage experts today at 718-441-7000 or 516-441-7000.
I'm Bruce Fisher. No one chooses to be injured in an accident, but if you have been, make sure you choose the right attorney. My office is experienced at getting multi-million-dollar verdicts and settlements for accident victims. The consultation is free, so call today.
Construction accidents, auto accident, accident at home, trip and fall, medical malpractice. যে কোনো অ্যাক্সিডেন্টের ক্ষতিপূরণ পেতে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন।
যে কোনো দুর্ঘটনায় গত 15 বছর যাবত অ্যাটর্নি ব্রুস ফিশার বাংলাদেশি কমিউনিটির জন্য সাফল্যের সাথে কাজ করে যাচ্ছেন।
ল অফিস অফ এইচ ব্রুস ফিশার পিসি, ফোন 212-957-3634।
দর্শক আপনারা দেখছেন নির্বাচন ভিত্তিক অনুষ্ঠান 2006 ডিসিশন 2016 আমাদের সাথে অতিথি আছেন অ্যাটর্নি ব্রুস ফিশার। আমরা এতক্ষণ কথা বলছিলাম তার সাথে ডোনাল্ড ট্রাম্প এবং হিলারির প্রোগ্রাম নিয়ে। এখন আমরা যে জিনিসটা জানতে চাইব সেটি হচ্ছে যে যদি হিলারি জিতেন তাহলে ট্রাম্পের রিঅ্যাকশন কি হতে পারে, আর ট্রাম্প যদি জিতেন তাহলে হিলারির রিঅ্যাকশন কি হতে পারে। মিস্টার ব্রুস, okay, Mr. Trump, he's telling without election, give me the result. And also he declared that if Hillary win, then he will not, he will not be cooperative. He will oppose the result.
Right.
So if Hillary win, then what could be the consequence? If Trump win, what could be the consequence? What is your observation?
Well, I think if Hillary wins, then obviously Donald Trump, I'm assuming, would never, would never stand up and say Hillary didn't win if the results, according to, the respected sources, are obviously fair and clear. I think, if you look at a challenge of an election, you have Gore versus Bush. That there has been history of parties not honoring the instant results of an election. The elections have been litigated in the past. So in the event that there is a very
I think they litigated on the Al Gore election. That
Right.
was litigated, but
Right.
Al Gore finally he congratulate Bush.
right.
Right. So the history, if we see the history, then today or tomorrow, mostly that same night, the loser he always congratulate the winner. Just what happened with Al Gore and Bush. This is the only incident.
Right.
They went to the court and court decided the Bush is the winner.
Yeah, I mean, in recent history, this is true. However, you also used to have people shake hands when they were going to do a debate.
Right.
And that civility, I think, is gone.
Yeah.
And I think if Trump does not win, I don't foresee Donald Trump standing on the podium and creating problems on the night of the election.
They already threatened that it could be a big riot in Washington.
I don't see Donald Trump in any way creating the incitement to riot post a non-victory on election day. However, that being said, you have to recognize the fact that there's a huge movement on the right. And the Republican Party has essentially, I don't want to say split, but Donald Trump essentially represents the upheaval
Yes.
within the Republican Party. I mean, you have Republicans such as John Kasich, who essentially, I believe, voted for Hillary Clinton. I don't think that the people who supported Donald Trump are just going to sit by and say, all right, well, the Republican Party as it was, we're just going to go back because Trump lost. So I think there's going to be a need for some direction within that, within that area of the populace. I don't see Donald Trump standing there and saying, we're marching on Washington on November 9th. However, again, you do have to recognize that at this point, as it's been announced and as we sit here today, the Democratic nominee is and may continue to be under investigation from the FBI. And that's
So it's looked like the FBI is working with the Obama administration. Obama is a Democrat, but the way FBI is working and reacting and then opening all the kind of investigation just a week ago of the election, it is kind of unusual behavior of the FBI within the same government.
Well, I think what has to be understood, and from my understanding, the investigation of the Clinton Foundation is not new. It's my understanding that was going on perhaps in January already. And since January, or maybe even before that, throughout the summer, when Comey stood up and said, or testified that he was not going to be pursuing the email investigation anymore. He never said anything about the Clinton Foundation, and he wasn't asked about that, I believe, at the time. So the FBI investigation is not something that's just closed. That's still going on.
Yeah.
And there's, the essentially there's a separate entity within the government, you know, that's investigating the potential next president. And you know, for America's sake, you have to hope that the FBI is not acting just politically; they're acting and following actual evidence. You know, as an American, as we sit here, as you and I sit here as Americans, you know, politics aside, we actually have to hope that there are some institutions that are independent and actually going to follow evidence. Because as we see, the media, regardless of if you look at Fox News, if you look at CNN, the media essentially we have come to recognize that is not giving us the full story of the events that are taking place. I mean, we have to commend Time Television for actually having a discussion about what's going on, because most media outlets are actually not discussing the full perspective of these events. And as Americans, we have to hope that the FBI is actually following just evidence.
But the reason the FBI came in the fire because of the time, because the election is almost knocking the door, and the two candidates, they are talking against each other. Then the FBI said, okay, everything is clear. There is no evidence that she did something which is criminal offense, right? And then after 2 weeks, the FBI said, okay, we are investigating again, which make all kind of controversy. Now today's report is they are investigating also the Clinton Foundation. So the whole thing is going like, favoring the Donald Trump.
Well, that's the problem with evidence sometimes, or that's the problem with facts, is that they don't go away. So, yes, Comey stood up in July and said, we're closing the investigation of the emails as we sit here today.
Right.
But if any new evidence comes up, then we are going to, we would reopen it. So, I would ask you, as a journalist, what would be more fair? Would it have been fair for the FBI director, in the light of new evidence that had come up, to not say a word, and then have the election take place, and then after the election had taken place, if, for instance, it came out that Director Comey was aware of the fact that the email investigation had been reopened and did not say something, then I think there would be really problems in this country, because then people would be saying, why wasn't this information made clear to the public that on election day these investigations are still going on?
Yeah, because I think the reason President himself criticizing and reacting, and also Department of Justice and the candidate Hillary Clinton, as well, because of time, because this is the very crucial time when the election is almost imminent. Then all of a sudden the FBI's statement, it's influencing the voters, which is not favoring Hillary.
Well, but both the Democrats and the Republicans can take the hypocrisy and leave the playing field, because what happens is that you can see such stark hypocrisy on both sides when Comey decides not to press for charges. The Republicans go bananas. You see then at that moment you see the Democratic senators and congressmen. You see on the news, you see them essentially praising Comey to the point where they want to invite him over for Thanksgiving dinner. How much they love him, and he's great and he's respectable.
Yeah, right.
At that moment, then when Comey actually says there's more evidence here, then he becomes a hack. Then he becomes the person who should resign, or as Harry Reid said, he's violating the Hatch Act.
Right.
Which
thank you so much for your observation, and we'll bring you again for latest comment and your observation.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you. দর্শক, আজকে এ পর্যন্তই। আগামীতে আবার কোনো একজন অতিথিকে নিয়ে আসবো। ততক্ষণ আপনারা সবাই ভালো থাকুন এবং টাইম টেলিভিশন অবজার্ভ করুন। থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ। খোদা হাফেজ।